Going on, my people? What's up, Don? What's up, Austin? What's up, wifey? What's going on? So, as y'all know the vibes, we here every Saturday morning discussing one of these books that we read, and this one has definitely been on point. I truly hope and pray that everybody has actually been on point with this book because, whoa, it's game on. And if you are consistent, anything you do, everything you do, baby doll. I gotta go get a baby doll. So, with that being said, I'm not gonna kick us off because I gotta go find a toy for my daughter upstairs. She's freaking out. But these two chapters, let me get the right names. And if I'm not mistaken, this is chapters 10 and 11. Yes, Marcus?
Yes.
Boom, there he is. All right, cool. So, yeah, chapter 10, I spoke on last week. It was fire. Tour guides and trailblazers, and chapter 11, sound check. That was the whole vibe. So, truly, y'all, I am excited to hear everybody's perspective on this thing. I'm going to switch over to my phone here in a moment just so I can hear it as I go find this toy. But whomever would like to kick us off this morning, you guys can definitely hit that. Go ahead, take it away. I'm shooting it Amber Jill ready.
I didn't finish. I did not finish. So, the only thing that I got through was chapter 10, which was the Trailblazers. And I don't have much to say right now, guys. It was a really good chapter about trailblazing. That's all I got. Can I go second? Can I go again? Someone else go. Kevin, you go.
I was just about to give you props and say at least you're reading it because I'm just joining in to listen. I have I am reading Atomic Habits, though. Very good book. Highly recommend it. Thank you, Donovan, for putting me on for that. I still got to start no excuses.
For sure. I know Donnie is out here.
Donnie or Austin? Because I'll start, I guess.
Thanks.
Give somebody else an opportunity. Austin, Donnie? No? You'll go or no? Okay, Donnie said he's
Give me a second.
Bro, Donnie. All right. I'm just gonna kick us off. What's up, y'all? Happy Saturday. It's good to see everybody. In terms of the discovery of delivery, that was like the little 3 pages before chapter 10. Again, I don't know if people like catch the in between. I don't know if they're like mini chapters or what, but it's like a little preface to the different parts of the book. But he talks about the discovery of delivery. So, what was really cool about that, I didn't know this, but the Holy Spirit is often identified by the ancient Greek word pneuma, which literally means breath or wind. So like if y'all seen the word like pneumonia or stuff like that, I'm always used to that and thinking of lungs. And I thought that was pretty cool because he essentially was talking about how your delivery is dependent upon your ability to inhale adequate oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide in order for your body to sustain your speaking. So I think the way I was able to relate to this was the fact that this has been probably the wildest week of my entire life. And I've had to have some pretty upfront and real conversations with a multitude of type of people, including my family. So he had brought up the fact of like mood, tempo, and melody in someone's performance. And then he also witnessed people get lightheaded or even dizzy because they were nervous and began to hyperventilate. So in a sense, what I've learned in my scientific career is that your emotions are reactions to chemicals that go throughout your body. And these chemicals cause things to occur in your physiology that you have to let your body recognize so that you can control your breathing while you're dealing with emotions, either talking to other people or talking to an audience. And one of the things that I have been able to keep in my mindset, as well as through experience, is noticing my emotions when I speak and then checking them. So like if I can feel my heart race or my palms kind of start to sweat because I'm like frustrated or angry, like I just, as I'm either talking or I'm receiving and listening to somebody, like I will intentionally breathe deeply. You know what I'm saying? Just so that whenever it's my turn to speak, I can speak with the good delivery that's required so that people can fully hear me and not see my or hear my emotion. And I think that's one of the coolest things about our ability that God's given us is that like our feelings are not truth and we get to choose what we focus on. So if you focus on the fact that this person is making you very upset or very sad or very nervous and anxious, then like what you focus on expands. So it's just recognizing it, digesting it, letting it go, and then coming back to a centered space. And I love the way he explained that because in a sense, he goes, breath gives life, and nowhere is that more important than when you are sharing your life and the life of your ideas with other people. And I don't think, like, I want to say that one more time because I don't know if a lot of people fully resonated what that means. Breath gives life, and nowhere is that more important than when you are sharing your life and the life of your ideas with other people. It's a big part, y'all. You never know what words you use or how you communicate those words can have an effect on somebody's life every day moving forward. So if you're just mindful and you're intentional, then you can literally breathe the spirit, which is amazing, into other people because you're giving them words through your use of your breath. So I thought that was really cool. And I've seen some people who get like really nervous, talk really, really fast. I mean, sometimes I used to struggle with that too. So one, just being mindful of your breath so that you remember to breathe while you're speaking is very important. That way you can get your oxygen that you need while you're delivering your message. Anyways, tour guides and trailblazers. I wanted to touch on what my guy Mikhail touched on last time when we went over this chapter, and it's essentially that Jesus knew this result and considered it not only unavoidable, but a positive indicator of the gospel message in a hostile world. In a sense, he was telling people that even in today's cancel climate, trailblazers know that their message will upset, unsettle, and upend some of their listeners. Boy, I was like, Jesus, bro, I'm telling you, bro, Jesus was the OG triple OG. And I've been diving into the Gospels within my own daily reading of the Bible. And as I dive further more, like my guy was like people, like, yes, he was very kind and genuine and sincere. And he listened more than he spoke. But when he spoke, this man was like upfront with you and he let you know what's good. Like he literally would tell people like, why are you so afraid? Like you have little faith. And literally telling you you have no faith, bro. You know what I'm saying? So my guy is out here telling people that if you are a positive indicator of the gospel message in a hostile world, like prepare yourself. You're going to be ridiculed by even people who at once fully thought that your perspective was valuable. It just is what it is. It's part of the growth process. If the world hates you, keep in mind it hated me first. If you, I'm sorry, someone talk? No? Okay. Keep in mind that the world hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. This dynamic has certainly emerged throughout history, whether you consider the messages of Martin Luther, King Jr., or anyone who dares to speak against the status quo, to question the prevailing authority, or to propose something revolutionary can count on opposition. So in a sense, like be mindful. My reading today in the Bible, God talks about how when you share your message, you'll be persecuted. So as you take the faith walk and you choose him over everything else, and you choose to actually walk in that as much as possible, be prepared to have the opposition because it's bound to come. You can't avoid it. That's the biggest thing that I've been able to learn as well as dive into within this chapter. And then hold on, I think it was through the eagle's nest. Nope. One sec. Just want to touch on one more thing before I go to sound check.
Let me add to that real quick. And no, like
Yeah.
coming from what Marcos is saying, like he's so right. Once you start taking that faith walk, bro, the most unexpected hate will come to you, bro. I shit you not. I'm coming into work from break the other day, right? This is one dude that worked at a little off, right? I acknowledge that. Dude, I shit you not. The second I walk in the door, fuck you, Kevin. What did I do? You know, but it's just like once you start really taking in the words of God and saying like, to yourself, like, look, God's got me. In Jesus' name, I'm gonna keep walking this walk. But there is gonna be the most randomest obstacles that will get in your way. The most random. I'm just warning you guys right now. Most random, bro. Man.
But yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, Kevin. But I think the last thing he talked about that I wanted to touch on is that the desire to inform and educate, to challenge and persuade, to enlighten and inspire is the heartbeat of every woman or man who dares to stand before a microphone / podium and open his or her mouth. You have a responsibility when communicating to uses of language and the seasoning of oratory eloquence to the best of your ability, because at the very least, you will be fulfilling the dual roles of a tour guide and a trailblazer, imparting known truths and stirring curiosity in some while creating new methods and sparking hope in others. The torch has been passed to you even as you illuminate each audience you bless with your audience. So if you feel like a need to share a message, to share an idea, to talk about TGF, to talk about what it is that you are doing currently, to talk about a different perspective of way of being, like understand that you're not only showing somebody truth, but you're guiding somebody through truth as well. You're allowing them to, as a tour guide, know where to go, where to stay away from, and as a trailblazer, leaving a path behind you as you go through that yourself. And that's essentially what I got from the chapter 10. And then chapter 11 was sound check. Sound check literally made me think of Tyrone Foster, y'all. I cannot cap to you. I never really experienced sound check until this man was like, "Can we get a sound check, bro?" I was like, "Yeah, bro, for sure." This man went all in and he taught me everything about sound checks. I didn't realize how important they were, but if you were there, you know. So anyways, what was really cool about this one, he said that sound check comes is a common practice for most communicators prior to delivering a message, a speech, or a sermon. That's not much to it, really. It's simply a quick test to make sure the technology works properly. But after decades of speaking, he says that the sound check has become a familiar part of the ritual of his public communication at conferences, churches, and leadership events. And it's often his last chance to make final adjustments, corrections, or additions. So it's a reminder to make sure that I have something worth saying. In a sense, like, don't just check the technology, but check your mindset. I took it along with that, like, check whether or not what you're speaking about is going to be communicated effectively and what parts that you really want to zone into. I know when I prepare for certain talks or study sessions, I have notes. I look over those notes. I look over to see exactly like where I'm going to cover, what I'm going to do, and then how can I be efficient, because we all have a time frame, right? So with that, just being mindful of exactly what you're doing and like the timing of it. And then I think the last thing I'll touch on, trying to give some people some time. Heart of the moment. He talked about focusing your feelings as well. I don't know. Which one should I talk about? There's just a lot in this chapter, y'all. Okay. Anyways, real quick. He touched on essentially what I got from the little mini chapter on knowing how to focus your feelings, being one of the most important factors in creating and sustaining a bond with your audience. The emotional connection you experience with them enriches the communication process for almost everybody. Again, going back to what he said earlier in the book, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. So if you can have that emotional connection and utilize that, then you become an even more effective communicator. And then the last thing that I'll touch on is heart of the moment and his story of actually flying from Dallas to go and speak. Where is that? He said that when he was at dinner, they started talking about life on a foreign planet. And it was just funny to see how the guy that he was talking with, Timothy, like was a very emotional. He talked about him like being like a cartoon character. Like you could really see when he was really interested or when he was upset or angry. He goes, you could tell. I try not to betray my feelings, but that way that they treated you was unbelievable. I was so angry and I was and ashamed. And TD Bishop's response says, I know you are. I was worried you were going to burst back there. Do we need to get a doctor? And he had apologized saying that like, hey, I hope I haven't spoken out of place. And then TD Jakes responded saying just the opposite. It's very heartening actually. You notice what I live with every second of every day. Most people don't, especially the people in that organization, which is why I agreed to speak here. I want to dispel their stereotypes and shake their expectations. I want them to see that our similarities as human beings far outweigh our differences, including the color of our skin. So essentially, like one, he was just reminding people like to support each other. And that whenever emotions are really high, like just be mindful and be willing to receive, because TD Jakes was the one getting the oppression from the type of communication that was being had at the dinner table, but he wasn't the one that was outwardly frustrated and angry. It was the friend that was there with him, or his name was Timothy. So Timothy obviously was upset because he felt ashamed, and TD Jakes has been able to navigate that type of anger or frustration, and he was able to receive it and then use his platform to understand like, hey, I can actually change someone's perspective because it'll be in a different setting. It'll be at a point where they can actually hear what it is I'm saying or my perspective, and I can actually throw away those stereotypes rather than be judged by them. So again, y'all, one, just being mindful of checking yourself as you're speaking, and as you're preparing for your speeches, and then checking your emotions and your feelings while you're doing so, as well as while you're receiving and listening to other people. And then while you're trailblazing and being a tour guide, being mindful of knowing that the opposition is bound to occur, and that you're not only telling somebody through truth where to go, but you're showing them by leaving a path behind you as you navigate in that truth as well. So those were my biggest takes on it. I don't know how many people actually read, so I just wanted to touch on as much as I possibly could. And I hope it helps start some. Go ahead, Don. You got it.
Sheesh, boy, sheesh.
I can say stuff after Donnie.
I did not read again, so sorry, y'all. Just kidding. Let's see. Marcus definitely touched on the two things that I wanted to touch on tour guides and trailblazers, but it's all right. I'll just retouch on them, give them my perspective. But in the truth of the trailblazers, really just going and creating that new path, whether people like it or not. And then he referred back to John 15:18 through 19, in which Marcus went over and how he talks about you being of the world. If you were of the world would love you, but you don't belong to the world. So he has chosen you out of the world, and this is why the world hates you. And really just understanding that as we become trailblazers in setting and creating new paths for people to go down, especially down the road or down the line of time, that people will continue to follow. It takes us learning and utilizing the tools and resources and wisdom of people before us, like TD Jakes, like many of our other mentors that we listen to and read, and really just cultivate our own path to effectively communicate with people in our own way and who it is that we are. And that's what I got in chapter 10 and understood. And then in chapter 11, let me see, where was I? Okay, so in chapter 11, really just knowing the perspective that we're coming in as we speak with individuals, whether it's one-on-ones or a group of people, an audience, knowing that it's, like Marcus had said, it's not what you say, it's how you make them feel, that people remember. And in order to cultivate that feeling in people of engagement and like the desire to listen and feel that emotion of that which you're speaking, you got to know how to express what it is that you're feeling in the way that you communicate, because he dives into how people get confused on speaking with feeling to get audiences to listen, and they word vomit their emotions and what it is that they're actually feeling. That in a way disengages people from the conversation and the topic in which they're communicating, because people don't want to know, or people don't show up for you to word vomit what it is that you're feeling or going through. But in a sense, you can effectively communicate the way that you're feeling and going through in the way that you communicate, rather than just word vomiting and like just spilling out everything to them and disengaging them. You can speak with emotion and how it is that your tone and what it is that you're speaking on, and relate it to have it to where people are able to relate to it in a way for them to continue to be engaged and remember what it is that you spoke about. And so in that aspect, definitely learning that part, especially I think it was chapter 11 in which, or 10, he had touched on, let me see. 10 or 11. Something that after reading it, seeing that I've started doing in how I communicate to get a point across or communicate upon understanding is jumping back to my previous experiences and things that I've learned. I find myself always like, what I've learned in this situation is this at this time that this happened or whatever. Hopping back to those things allow for the listener or listeners to know that you're not perfect and we all have mistakes, and it allows them to also relate even more so in that way when you dial down from speaking through authority to speaking out of vulnerability and like so definitely lit, and then I'm excited because I definitely see the different ways in which I have grown in communication and continue growing in my communication. And then even just seeing me and Marcus were talking last night, and it's really dope to see from a perspective of still growing and having that awareness. You're able to, through conversation and communication with others, see the different perspectives at which people are at in the different levels of life and communication, all aspects. And you're able to grow from that in where it is that you're at. So super lit. It's crazy power of communication, but much love, y'all. Happy Saturday, your boy. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Amber.
Hey. So one of the things that Marcus was talking about when he was talking about the discovery of delivery, and he was talking about breath, that reminded me of something that I've been practicing recently, like in my past lives, and some feedback that I got from one of my mentors was just about remembering to like stay in my body whenever I speak. So like for me, I could be like very emotional and like very like passionate about pretty much everything. And I could get like carried away with certain things that I'm talking about, especially if they're, like with certain healing sessions that I do, like they're really emotional. And one thing that she had told me, she was like, whenever you're doing these sessions, she's like, you need to remember, like, you're not the one who's healing, you're holding the space for them. And so what she meant by that was basically like not to get lost in the emotion of what I'm talking about. So I'm not like, basically if I get lost in what I'm saying and I start to like, be in my head about what I'm talking about or what I'm speaking about, I'm going to lose the audience. Like no one's going to be able to keep up with what I'm talking about or what I'm saying because I'm all like in my own world. And so with that feedback, I've been practicing it to where there's moments where, like I'm feeling with the what we're talking about, I'm feeling, where we're going, and I want to like go into it myself, but bringing myself like back to my body and just staying right here, right now, and like staying on points has been so much more effective because I realized before that, whenever I didn't know that I was doing that, like I would get lost in myself. Like I would get lost in what I was saying or what I was doing. And then I would have to come back and like, still manage everything. And I would feel like kind of all over the place. And so with practicing that, like practicing just like staying in my body, taking a breath, breathing, and allowing myself to have that pause, it's helped me become just way more effective. Like when I'm speaking, when I'm communicating stuff, and help me feel more confident with like holding an audience. Cause I know that, like I don't feel like I'm all over the place. So I know like they probably don't feel I'm all over the place. And so that's really helped me to just like taking that breath, making sure I just keep telling myself over and over again, having to stay in my body. And for like me particularly, I really have to focus on that because it's difficult for me to just really stay grounded. Like I can easily just get really like, just like in my imagination and my emotion and like all this stuff. And so having like to sit down and just be like, okay, Amber, this is what you're doing right now is something that I really have to like consciously focus on. And so that's what one of the things that Marcus talked about had brought up and reminded me of. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thought that was pretty valuable. Let's see, who is next? Josh, are you there, Josh? Can you hear me?
But yeah, too. And like, I forgot to point it out, but I had it highlighted. I put it in the chat, y'all. So just touching on what Amber just said, knowingly or unknowingly, when we unleash too much unfiltered emotion, we risk losing more than we ever gain. So you won't even just lose like the ability to communicate the message to the people you're talking to, but you also might lose the entirety of the relationship. Like if we're being honest, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially with you're not mindful of like the type of delivery you give. But go ahead, Josh.
I'm here, but I mean, I'm gonna be moving around a lot. So if anybody can go real quick, because I don't know if y'all want to hear crackling between my talking. So whoever is ready before me, please take it away.
Let's see, Mama Mary, can you share?
Hi, good morning, guys. Sorry, I just got done cooking breakfast for my daughter and her friends. So I've been kind of listening in as well. Unfortunately, I did not get to read chapters 10 and 11. But from what I got out, I do like what Marcus put on here and what Amber touched on, because we can definitely unleash too much and unleash not enough all at the same time. But I do know when I've sat or stood on a stage giving my story, talking to the crowd, I have been one of those where like you lose your train of thought and then you feel like you've lost your crowd. I felt that way before, and it's not a good feeling. So just from that that passage, what Marcus put, knowingly or unknowingly, when we unleash too much unfiltered emotion, we risk losing more than we ever gain. I do plan on going back today and reading chapters 10 and 11. So I'll give a little bit more in-depth detail on what I got out of those two chapters, and I'll upload it on the book club. But that's what I got out of, I guess, I think Marcus was the first one to go.
Thank you, Mama Mary.
Well,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
let's see, we have Mikkel and Tia and Josh and Kevin.
All right, I can do it. What's poppin', everybody? Hope y'all having a great Saturday. Even though the weather's a little messy, still a beautiful day. We're blessed to live another day, to breathe, to see, to walk, to do things that we're able to do that most people aren't able to do. So I just wanted to say that first. I'm grateful for everything that y'all have done for me. The support with my brand is amazing. And just the support in general, to have people that are like-minded around me has just helped me grow so much in the span of 4 months. I've already noticed a big change on how I'm communicating with people, how I'm representing myself, and working on being a reflection of Jesus Christ. As I be consistent with going to church, being a Bible study, I've gotten more into learning and actually sticking with the information. But with that being said, my favorite part was mainly chapters 10.
What do you want?
Talking about trailblazing. Am I good to go?
Hold on, Josh. Hold on. Mama. Oh, there goes. She's muted.
So yeah, talking about trailblazing and being a tour guide, that's basically us, guys. If you're an IBO, you know that you have to be a tour guide to show people what you know and how we do things over here, and show them that what they are missing out on if they haven't joined already. And then also being a trailblazer, I feel like we're all trailblazers since we took the leap of faith to see what this organization is about. Nobody really knew about TGF before we joined. And now that we're in it, we can give a story and be the testimonies of this amazing organization that is and what is to be. So with that being said, like I've always been a trailblazer in my life, I felt like, because when I see something that I want to do, I go head first and I attack it. And then I also see other things. I'm the type of person that I want to do everything at once. Like I want to do a lot. And I know that I've been working on it to focus on one thing and go full tunnel vision on that one thing to be able to master that thing and then move on to the next. But that's what I've been working on as a trailblazer myself. And then also I have written down on my notes, it was a really cool thing he said, and it reminded me of us. Let's see. I feel like these calls that we do weekly are our sound checks. He was talking about sound checks. Speakers, artists, everybody that does something like that have sound checks to see if it's time to bring the audience in, or just make sure everything is going well for them, so the audience is able to hear well and the quality is good. So this will be our sound checks, the calls during the week. And I just say that because I see all of us on a stage one day in the future telling thousands of people about our stories and about the TGF organization. So our practice is right now, our sound checks are right now during these calls. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to talk your mind, because you're just practicing in a sense. So that's what I got from chapters 10 and 11. But yeah, a little short and sweet, something sweet.
Fire desire, bro. Mikael, Hello, you want to share anything? Oh,
Can you guys hear me?
yes, sir.
That's so cool that I can do that. Well, hold on 1 second here. And boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna bring this notebook. I got a pen. One more pen. My bad, John. I'm literally trying to walk out of the house at the same time. And y'all know the vibes. Mikhail always got a million things I'm leaving around and stuff. Boom, boom, boom. I got a brush. All right, cool. Well, what's up, my people? First and foremost, this has been a fire discussion as I've been listening in. Definitely been lit Eve committee. And I appreciate all y'all for tuning in and adding in. Please leave I did. All right. And then adding in y'all outlook as well. I love what Josh has talked about, because come on, go ahead. Come on. It's exactly what this is. This is literally our sound check every single week. You know, that's the reason why we created this call like this, to literally be like a discussion. Hold on, let me put this address in now, y'all. 1 second. Boop. Okay, I got it in. Bow. All right. So first things first, chapter 10 was definitely a vibe. And all y'all hit on so many amazing points, and I've been moving and grooving. So mind me if I like misspeak or say who said what and is wrong. But all in all, chapter 10 was definitely different. I loved it. I spoke on it really deep last week. Like, all in all, I am a trailblazer. I really accepted that role a long time ago. And it's just dope to be able to realize like the respect that I have for my fellow trailblazers, as well as the people who have blazed the trail before me and the tour guides that came before me to show me the exact way. But I do want to take a second, and since I reread the chapter, you know what I'm saying, I had to learn it twice. And it was just I read it with a different lens this past week. And as I did, I wanted everybody to take a second, and I kind of do this low key often with damn near every book that we read, but take a second and stop thinking about you. Stop thinking about your life and think about others. And then understand that just as much as you are in this journey of like learning your emotions, of learning how to communicate, of actually becoming better, you got to understand that everybody is. And so you have to give grace, truly. And then also in that process, you got to be able to share your experience to help other people get through theirs, just like TD Jakes is doing for us. So if you quiet and not sharing it with nobody, you're slacking. If you ain't got respect for your fellow trailblazers and people who have blazed the trail before you, you're slacking. If you aren't taking a second to not only just determine and understand where you are in your journey, but also the people that you are around and exactly where they are in their journey, because then you can understand exactly what they value and then you can give them value. So, like, just really be attentive to that and take yourself out of your own mind and understand that we are all eagles and we were all once and all still are growing eagles. And just like God's going to stir up our nest, sometimes we got to stir up our people's nest too. And it's been dope to literally talk about these two chapters because this week has been a week for us all, to say the least. And there have definitely been a lot of conversations that have been had all throughout squad that ruffled some feathers and definitely made the nest uncomfortable from a multitude of different people. You know what I'm saying? So with that, it's like, it's definitely been a different space. And it was dope to be able to literally look at these two chapters and be able to just, as we're all having these conversations, if you're staying up on reading, like you were able to check yourself as this season comes in. And this is why I really just want to stress the importance of like, bro, I don't care what you got going on, y'all. If you can hop on this call, you can read these chapters. Because while niggas is talking, you guys all got the book on your phone. Like I spent hours inside of a freaking coffee shop to make sure that all of these books are in the app for everybody because I got real tired of opening up my Zoom every single Saturday. I'm gonna just keep it a buck real quick and ruffle some feathers of people hopping on and saying, hey, I ain't read. Bro, we all got a lot going on. We all are under a lot of stress. But the one thing that we definitely need to continue to do is work on ourselves. I know everybody has had a storm this past week, but even as we continue to give ourselves grace, we've also got to be accountable to what the hell that we said that we were going to do. Period. Because I know some struggles of some people on this call over the past 7 days, and I know what their life has looked like. And I know for a fact that some people have not had the week that some other people have had. Yet those people still read. So I want to challenge everybody over this next week, whether you're reading another book at the same time, whether you're doing whatever the heck you're doing, if you're going to commit, like commit. Stop breaking promises to yourself because truth be told, it doesn't do anything for you. It does something to you and it breaks your confidence every single time. Period. If you're not building, you're destroying. That's just literally how it goes. It's kind of like the process of breathing on Earth. You're breathing in oxygen, it feels good. You're breathing out carbon dioxide, it literally kills things. Like if it's not one, it's the other. So as we all continue to progress, because I know sometimes y'all, I be waking up on Saturday mornings and haven't read. Why do you think I play an extra 2 songs? Because I be reading the last of the chapters that I ain't read. Like, hold yourself accountable. period. And check yourself as we come from and go through this journey together, because we got to continue to provide a space for new people to come on and see the level of accountability, to see the level of responsibility, period. And that's what he talks about. Like when it comes to checking your message, when it comes to your sound check, this is your sound check. Are you prepared? Period, point blank. So I know I went deep into chapter 10 last week. Chapter 10 with sound check, it was different. I loved everything about it, and y'all hit amazing notes on it throughout this entire call. So I'm not going to spend too much time, because all in all, like, y'all, it's in the pages and we just got to read them. And if we go through it, like, everything has been designed for us, because we do a lot of work in talking to whole squad and realizing where people's at and strategically place books right along this journey. So tune in, catch up, because it's right in tune with where everybody is exactly in their life right now. So if I can give some just game to squad, real life, get in tune. It helps a lot of these growthful conversations easier. It makes all of the entire process, it just kind of like pumps some oil in there, makes everything run a little smooth. So I just really quick wanted to follow up with that, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just to wrap this thing up, because all in all, we got 7 more days and we got 2 more chapters. So let's read these 2 chapters this next week. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get it in. But with that being said, for next week, y'all, we have chapter 12, Keep Your Cool When the Mic is Hot, real life. And then part 5, The Meal and the Message, chapter 13, The Recipe by Dr. Frank Thomas. Honestly, this book, like I said, y'all, it's right on time. It's right on time with where we are here in 2024. So tune in. Let's have an amazing week together. We're going to really get it cracking regardless. I'm in the field if y'all need me. I know we're doing the TGF Fit call right after this as well. And yeah, y'all, let's just really go get it cracking. Period. Let's go expand. Let's go multiply. Let's go get disciplined. Let's go get consistent. And let's have a great week. Get into some results, get into some work, and let's go change some lives. Period, point blank. So I love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.